Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to the Enterprise Architecture Radio. If you're thinking about organizational complexity and agility, if you're concerned about operational efficiencies and are thinking of taking it to the next level, if managing innovation is one of your priorities, you have come to the right place. On this podcast, we talk about all of that and more. It's a jungle out there, and we will attempt to navigate this jungle of frameworks, methods, and most importantly, enterprise architecture in practice. Welcome to the Enterprise Architecture Radio. Today, we are going to cover a topic that's actually close to my heart. The enterprise architecture role is considered to be a technical role. When we hire an enterprise architect, we look for technical skills such as architecture skills, design skills, of course, and then we look at programming skills or software engineering skills, and then we have project management, program management skills, infrastructure skills, public cloud skills, automation skills, and so on. But rarely do we test for soft skills such as communication skills or influencing skills or negotiation skills or leadership skills, right? And major part of what an enterprise architect does is about those skills. Let's talk about that for a bit. To elaborate, I will split the enterprise architecture role into two parts. The first part I call the grind. This is the part where we go and take a look at the enterprise and document everything into an enterprise architecture repository. And this includes all the business functions, all the business capabilities, all the business processes, services, how they interact with each other, and how the organizational structure is designed. And then we look at all the applications that support each business function, process, service, etc., etc. How these applications interact with each other, what kind of data classification they manage. So data classification, again, could be based on security, data privacy, personally identified information, or what have you. It could be business criticality or availability, etc., etc. And then, of course, how does the data transform and migrate as it passes through various business functions or processes, and which are the applications that actually transform this data and what have you. And then, of course, we have the technology platform. We look at how applications are hosted within the organization, whether they are on the public cloud, private cloud, what kind of technology strategy the organization has, whether it is software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. Do you have on-premise data centers? Would you prefer hosting an application on the public cloud? Which public cloud, and what have you? And then you take all this information and you document all of this into an enterprise architecture repository, which could be some sort of a tool. And that's what I call the grind, the first part of the role of an enterprise architect. While it sounds very, very interesting, this is actually the boring part of the enterprise architect's role. The interesting part, the sexy part of the enterprise architect's role is part two, which is business intelligence. Because why are we doing all of this? Why are we gathering all this information and storing it into an enterprise architecture repository? Because we want to build intelligence out of it. We want to try to understand the flaws that the organization has today, the gaps, the inefficiencies, the redundancies that the organization has, which can be eliminated, and the organization can be made more efficient. We could look at, innovation initiatives or tech refreshes or capability redundancies, and so on. So you take all this business intelligence that you create out of the enterprise architecture repository and show it to your senior leadership or executive committee or what have you, so that they can take the right decisions about, they could trigger off a new initiative on making the organization more efficient, or it could be a new program for innovation that could probably transform the organization. Well, easier said than done. Most of the time, the enterprise architecture organization exists within IT. And enterprise is not IT. Enterprise architecture is not IT architecture or technology architecture, right? Enterprise architecture is beyond IT. It is the whole organization, which basically means that, from a structure point of view, enterprise architecture exists within IT, which probably exists within some kind of an operational organization, which ultimately exists within the larger organization. So we are much lower in the hierarchy. And what we are trying to do as enterprise architects is trying to influence the stakeholders that are not only outside IT, but also higher in the hierarchy. Let's take designing the organizational structure, for example. Ideally, what should happen is you should be mapping all the business capabilities within the organization. And then based on the capability map, we design the organization. So for example, if there is a capability that we find which is used across the organization within various business functions, we create a horizontal capability that cuts across all the vertical capabilities. And what are vertical capabilities? These are unique capabilities that do unique kind of work. Manufacturing, for example, or therapeutic areas in a pharma company, or I don't know, transaction banking in a bank, and so on. These are unique capabilities and verticals that are not used within the organization. So these vertical capabilities now utilize a single horizontal capability, making it more efficient. But this means that you're going to have to talk to the executive committee and show them the business capability map and convince them that the organizational design should be done based on the business capability. Now, there is already a perception that somehow the business is more superior than the IT organization. And you see it all over the place. You talk about business IT integration, or business drives technology, and so on and so forth. Why we don't talk about these things more when it comes to other capabilities within the organization? Like, we don't talk about business HR integration or business manufacturing integration, because ultimately manufacturing, HR, IT, these are all business functions within the larger enterprise. Business is already seen as a superior business function than IT. And not only that, you're talking to leaders who are higher in the hierarchy, who come with their own ideas about how to design the organization, and their experience, and to a certain extent their egos as well. So there is a unique set of skills that you're going to need to be able to influence them, to be able to take the right decisions about the organization. Because enterprise architecture is not just about IT organization, it is also about the business. One of the primary responsibilities of an enterprise architect is to convert powerful stakeholders who are not interested in enterprise architecture into powerful stakeholders who enable the enterprise architecture to do their job well, so that they can in turn help the leadership team to become more profitable, to become more lean, agile, to become more innovative in their way of doing business. And so soft skills such as communication skills, or negotiation skills, or influencing skills, or leadership skills cannot be taken for granted when it comes to enterprise architecture. They're one of the quintessential skills that you need. And that's probably one of the reasons why all the successful enterprise architects that you see in the industry today, the ones that have made a major contribution to the industry or to the field of enterprise architecture through the work that they've done or through the frameworks that they've built, are of a certain age. They possess the gravitas, the sincerity, the leadership qualities that are required by a good enterprise architect. That's all I have for you today, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. More about innovation, enterprise architecture, and how we can implement these ideas in the practical world, in the business, right here on this show. Do not forget to subscribe. Thank you for telling your friends about the show and supporting us. If you want to find out more about us, you can visit us at enterprisearchitectureradio.com. If you have ideas, thoughts, disagreements, feel free to write to me directly. We also have a Telegram group, and if you would like to contribute to the EA discussions there, just search for Enterprise Architecture Radio on Telegram, or the URL to join the group is https://t.me/Enterprise Architecture Radio. I'm very easy to find on LinkedIn as well. You can find all my contact details in the show notes. Once again, I hope you had fun, and I'll see you in the next one.